driven into uncontrolled hysteria to prey upon the innocence of children.
Shocktails with Johnny Thunder.
I wonder if it isn't all a dream, a nightmare.
He doesn't have a drinking problem, but he has problems, so he drinks. It's our master of ceremonies, Johnny Thunder.
What's going on, dude?
Hey, you missed me?
Yeah, I haven't talked to you in, well, I don't know, what did Skype say? It was like 11, whatever.
Well, you text me once a week telling me you miss me, so
Wait, did somebody spoof my phone? Because that's obviously not me.
That a clone? It's like one of those clones.
Oh, is that what it's called? Yeah, it's cloning, I guess.
You did something, some video shoots or something with the baits, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a pretty cool project, and actually it was awesome because my daughter got to be involved with it. It's a project we shot at the Bates. What was it? It was the day after my birthday. Yeah, thank you for the happy birthday present. It was awesome. The same thing I got you last year, but in a bigger box. So it was on January 5th. We were up there for about 5 hours. We filmed. Pretty cool project. We can't talk about it yet. It'll be coming out, I think, in October. It'll be up on the website, hopefully, and also on YouTube. But it was awesome because it was a full costume. I was dressed up like Bubba, and my daughter got to go, and she wore her Prairie Girl costume from last Halloween. It got to be fully made up, which she was thrilled. I mean, she was just beside herself. The pictures are up on Facebook and Instagram, but she had a blast. So we had a lot of fun that day. So, like I said, when it's released, I think Sean said it should be up probably during this upcoming haunt season. I'll definitely share it on Facebook and mention it on the show. But yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, especially to work with her, because like my daughter obviously is like really into Halloween and haunting, but she loves like makeup. Like I said, she likes to watch Face Off and even watch the repeats and stuff. So she was fascinated watching, her makeup artist Sarah work on her, and then watch Sean do my makeup and everything else. So it was fun. It was very cool. Very cool. So it was one of those things where it was a long day, but by the same token, like they said, it's like something she'll never forget. So
no, I actually
it was like take your kid to work day, but it was actually cool work.
Hey, dude, who's your sponsor?
This time around, I am sponsored by 2SP Baby Bob Stout. What about you, genius?
Dude, about time you mixed it up. You've been running that same sponsor for the last 7 episodes or something.
Listen, I'm not going to just pick a different beer. Look, all right, you know what I'll do? I'll just start making up beer. I'll just start picking different beers that I drink, and I'll just mention them on the air. But I mean, like 2SP is my go-to. So, you know what? Back off.
But anyway, my sponsor is 125 milligram THC infused lemonade. Turn that frown upside down and suck on this lemonade. Get high on your own supply, brother. Good shit.
Jimmy.
I got to be careful because I'm not measuring this out. So if I drink this whole bottle, I am gonna be freaking.
This is gonna be another
bouncing off the friggin' walls. Holy.
Yes.
I've already got about a quarter of it done. So.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. I've had a bunch of people ask me, like, what the hell are you going to do with yourself at Transworld this year since you don't have to babysit Baker? I don't know. All this free time on my hands.
You could leave the papoose at home.
And that's what I was thinking. It's like, everyone's like, dude, he's usually passed out by 9 o'clock and you're out by yourself with other people, meeting other people up anyway. And I'm like, yeah, what the hell do I need that cat for? But all right. So before we start this nonsense, hey, and I guess we should just say all I'm doing this time are a bunch of movie reviews. I actually totally forgot about that we were doing this show. So I did watch some movies, but I was going to ask you before we talk about this, did you see anything? Did you watch any?
I did catch Bird Box.
Oh, okay. And did you watch? Did you want to talk about that other thing, or you just want to?
Sliders of Ghost Town.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about those two or not?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have really too much to go into about Sliders because I didn't make notes on it. I was hoping that I didn't realize you didn't have a Blu-ray player. I wasn't even thinking about it, so I just sent it off. And I didn't read your text until after I dropped it in the mail. So
well, of course. Well, of course. I mean, why should it be any different than any other time? But I'm saying, like, at the point where things like kind of converted over, at this point, all the screeners and everything I get are digital, and I mean, everything's just online. So that's when you sent it. I was like, but I had gotten a communication from the guy who had sent that to you, so I was just wondering if you want to talk about it a little bit.
I really dug it. It was great. It's a documentary on Not Scary Farm, and it goes into really in depth the guys who started sliding. The couple of guys who were kind of like the creators of the whole technique, and how they kind of hone their skills and their practice, and how you have to audition, the audition process. And it's just tons of footage of these guys at night. You're just in Ghost Town and all around the park. I watched the whole thing straight through. No checking the watch. It was just great. I thought it was one of the best documentaries I've seen that was like a haunt-related, documentary. It wasn't just about haunts. It's kind of about that specific haunt. And how that kind of spread. People started seeing videos of these guys, and then people started popping up all over the country. So it really did kind of blossom right out of Not Scary Farm. So yeah, it's worth you got to catch it.
Cool.
It's definitely worth a watch.
Nice.
So all right, what did you catch? What'd you watch?
Well, I saw a couple flicks. What did I see? Terror Tales, The Clovehitch Killer, easy for me to say. Rust Creek,
Come
Revenge.
On, that's what I'm supposed to say. You took my line from it.
But we'll start off with Escape Room.
You want to control your life, but life isn't a science experiment. You can't contain your world forever. Try doing one thing that scares you over break, okay?
Yeah. This serves as an entry voucher
for Minos Escape Rooms.
Be the first to escape our most immersive room yet.
And win $1 million.
So, when does the game start?
I think this is the escape room. We should look for clues.
What are we looking for here?
Anything that looks like a puzzle or a code. It looks like an oven dial. That looks real.
It's kind of warming up in here.
Excuse me. We'd like our hit now, please.
Well, that's creepy as hell.
Yeah, so, Escape Room is one of those that I saw that it was coming out, and I didn't really pay too much attention to it because I was sort of like, I think from what I remember from the trailer, it almost looked like a really watered-down, crappy kind of a Saw movie. But a couple weeks ago, out of the blue, I got a text from Revenant, and he's like, hey, I don't know if you saw this, but he was like snowed in or something. There was like a snowstorm, and he kind of had to bide his time at a mall or something, and he went into the movie theater, and this was sort of like, all right. He's like, this was the least offensive movie that was there, and he came out of it, and he said, I liked it. He goes, just go see it. And he's like, I'd like to see what you guys think about it for the next show. Rated PG-13. There's some, it's terror, action, violence, some suggestive language. Basically, it's 6 strangers receive these invitations in the mail to come and test out this, quote unquote, extreme immersive escape room. And the person who wins the escape room will get a prize of $10,000. So they show up. They're locked in several rooms. There's like 5 rooms, I think, in total, with these crazy extreme conditions. And at the end, they kind of discover the secrets behind what's going on and who invited them and how they're all brought together into this really weird plot. Like Revenant said, I was really, really pleasantly surprised by this one. It's nothing revolutionary, doesn't reinvent, horror or thrillers or anything like that. It's about an hour and a half, and I dug it. Like I said, it was pretty well acted. You've got actors. She played Judy Robinson in the Netflix Lost in Space remake. You've got the guy that played Dale from Tucker and Dale. You have a kid from, the Scouts Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse? He's in there. You have the actor who played Karen Page on Daredevil and The Punisher. And the characters are pretty likable. The set design is really well done. The actual rooms themselves are pretty well done. And it's just a really really entertaining flick. I would say it's maybe a cross between, there's no gore, there's nothing like gross about it, but I'd say Saw and, as Revenant said, The Cube, with a little bit of maybe Cabin in the Woods and Hostel thrown in. And I don't mean Hostel in terms of any kind of violence, but just in terms of these sort of a conspiracy behind what's going on there. So I got to say, like, Revenant and I spoke about it too, and pleasantly surprised. I keep saying that, but that's what I would say about this. It's pretty light. It moves fast, likable characters, well shot, and this was probably one of my favorite movies that I saw this month. So
I wanted to get out because Rev sent me the same text, and I said, "Damn it, let me." So I jumped on and I checked the local theaters, and it wasn't anywhere near me. And I'm like, I'm not driving an hour to go see it. Yeah, so I had to pass, unfortunately.
Yeah, but definitely, like I said, I couldn't believe it because I wasn't. Like he even said I wasn't expecting much, and I'm sitting there. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. Great ending, great cliffhanger. Completely sets up a sequel, and they could probably knock a couple of these out, every other year or so, and this could be a good franchise. And I think the budget was about $9 million, and so far it's grossed about $42 to $45 million. So it's made money.
Good.
So hopefully they come back with a second one. Great film. Like just in terms of for what it is. Again, there's nothing crazy about it, but I dug it. Now a movie that I saw a screener of called Terror Tales.
Oh, Michael, you should know me well enough by now. My stories never have happy endings. Devil is real.
I'm so sorry. I have something for you.
Go with God.
What else did you see on those tapes?
They're onto you, boy. Be careful, okay?
Let's continue, shall we?
You want to see crazy? Because you ain't seen nothing yet! Are we having fun yet, Michael?
Well, that was fun. Story time's over.
This is a movie, it's an anthology, which I always dig, of course. And there's a framing sequence. When abducted by a psychopath, a husband is taken on a ride from hell where he's subjected to 3 horrific tales of terror while his family is held captive in the attached cargo trailer. So there's a husband and a wife and a daughter. They're out on vacation, and this psycho kidnaps them, throws the wife and the daughter back in the trailer, has the husband in the passenger seat, and then basically tells him 3 different sort of horror tales. And I guess the draw about this one is there's a bunch of different actors from a lot of 80s slasher films in it. You've got people from Sleepaway Camp, from Friday the 13th. You have some people from, I think it's the People Under the Stairs. You've got, people from Critters 2, The Crazies, just all these kind of like actors that you might remember from back in the day. Overall, it's a little uneven. There's only 3 stories. I found one of the stories sort of interesting. I actually found the framing sequence the most interesting of it, which maybe isn't necessarily that great. It's on the lower budget side. It's more so sort of the, oh, hey, there's so-and-so, or hey, I recognize that actor from this movie. I don't know that I'd spend money on it. Again, I got a screener of it, so it was fine for what it was, but it wasn't necessarily the favorite thing that I've seen this month. So that one, I'd probably say skip. I just didn't really dig it that much at all. Now, moving on to a movie that I wasn't familiar with, but I saw on a bunch of best horror movies of 2018 lists, right? So this is called The Clovehitch Killer.
You know about that Clovehitch stuff, right?
10 official victims. No fingerprints, no blood. Just the Clovehitch tied to every victim's house.
I've been meaning to talk to you. You know we're made in God's image. But men like you and me, we got thoughts.
I don't think he stopped killing. I think there's more than 10 victims.
You can't control what pops into your head, right?
He has pictures.
I mean, what if a thought popped into your head right now? A bad thought.
Does that look like your father's handwriting?
Something like grabbing one of these tools, and wham! There. Awkward talk with Dad. Over.
You think your dad is Clovehitch?
I don't know.
So it revolves around this teenage boy who lives in this really, really uptight, religious Kentucky town. And he and his parents and his sister, they're churchgoers. He's a Boy Scout. You know, it's this very, very uptight, crazy community. But hanging kind of like a shadow over this whole town or the unsolved murders. There were 10 women who were brutally murdered and tortured by a serial killer known as Clovehitch, and Clovehitch is a type of knot. So the kid, the teenager, kind of discovers some clues that leads him to believe that his father may actually be the serial killer. So, you know, it kind of sounds like, whatever, but this one, it's very low key. It's not gory. It's not graphic. But this is a flick that I dug because it really, really hinges on the performances. And Dylan McDermott plays the dad, who, again, is the Boy Scout troop leader, church youth group leader. And he comes off, obviously, as the do-gooder, perfect picture, you know, family man and so forth. But it turns out, spoilers, he is the serial killer. So there's a lot of tension. It's very understated, a lot of the scenes where, you know, they're confronting each other and things are finally revealed. They're not necessarily played the way you think they're going to be played. And it's like I said, a very quiet picture, but a very disturbing picture. The teenage son's performance is very well. His friend that helps him solve sort of the mysteries is actually pretty likable as well. What I also dug about this was there's some nonlinear storytelling in it. So I'd say a little after halfway through the movie, they kind of tell the story from one character's perspective, and then 3/4 of the movie, they stop it and basically rewind to halfway through, and then you see the whole movie again, but from another character's perspective, which might sound a little strange, but it was really well done. And the same way with the ending, there's sort of this 15-20 minute ending to the film, but there's also a series of flashbacks. So it's pretty well crafted in terms of the story itself. That plus the performances, I thought was enough for me. So if you're a fan of Dylan McDermott like I am, I would check this out if you haven't seen it yet. Again, it's not gory, it's not over the top, it's not really crazy, even though there's, you know, it's about a serial killer, but it was pretty well done. So this one I definitely recommend. Kind of along the same lines, there's this flick called Rust Creek.
Turn left.
Think they seen us?
You need some help there, miss?
I was on my way to DC.
These woods, they can be a crazy place. Come on, man.
What's your name?
If you let me go, I promise I won't tell anyone anything.
You wouldn't make it 100 yards to shape your end.
The driver's name is Sawyer Scott. Nobody seems to know where she's at.
They find you here, they'll kill you.
Rated R for violence, language, and drugs. Drugs.
They had to go there.
Drugs. So this, you know, so now
I have a feeling you're looking at me through the mic. Just shoot me that glance.
I'm undressing you with my eyes. So
yikes.
What? Yow! That took a weird turn. So this one, you know, like from the description, I didn't know anything about it. Again, it's on demand. I was like, I'll you know, so whatever. So it's this college student. Again, she's in Kentucky. It was like the Kentucky day of flicks, whatever. So this young college student, she's in this college in Kentucky. She's, I think, driving to Washington, D.C. for a job interview. And then the whole plot is her car breaks down, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's this crazy, she breaks down out in the countryside, and maybe there's this over the top, maybe it's sort of a I Spit on Your Grave or Last House on the Left, or maybe it's like a Wrong Turn or Texas Chainsaw, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's going to happen. So she's driving out, she breaks down. These two rednecks come up and try to assault her. She's pretty well versed in self-defense, thankfully, and gets away from them. And then there's this long extended period of her just trying to survive in the wilderness. And there's this whole thing with a corrupt cop, and the rednecks are cooking meth, and then she finds the meth cooker with a heart of gold who protects her, and there's a lot of just sitting around and talking, and nothing really happens, and nothing really happens, and nothing really happens. Like I said, I went into this thinking it's going to be a little bit more of a, if you're going to make sort of an exploitive exploitive movie, maybe just kind of be a little bit more over the top, or go in the monster direction, or make it, like I said, full of gore and violence and everything else. I think this was trying to be a little bit more serious of a film, and trying to be a little, I don't know, maybe more important than it was, and trying to be a little bit, I don't know, I guess I would say thriller. There's not a lot of horror in it. The lead actor, she was fine. I mean, she actually was pretty good. But overall, I was kind of bored. Like, not a lot happens. And I don't know that I was invested really in any of the characters. So this one, I even debated then whether or not I should even review it, because it came up though on IFC Midnight, on my on-demand service. So usually those are, horror and, those kind of films. I've said about 35 times so far this segment, but
I know.
Yeah. So this one was a little bit boring. I wasn't too thrilled with this one. But what's funny is there was another flick that I saw on the 2018 best of lists. So this one was called Revenge.
Stan Dimitri, my associates.
Hi.
Women always have to put up a fight.
Now, everything that I criticized Russ Creek about, Revenge is exactly what you want if you're going into this kind of film. So Revenge is rated R for strong, bloody, gruesome violence. Like, that's literally what it says: strong, bloody, gruesome violence, graphic nudity, drug use, language, and there is suggestion of a rape perpetrated on the one character. So the story is basically these three millionaire middle-aged CEOs, they're all married, get together for an annual hunting game out in a desert canyon. And the film's, it's weird because it's part spoken in French and then part spoken in English. So this time, the one main dude who has a wife, but he brings along this young, I don't know, she's probably in her 20s or something. So she's this aspiring actress, and she thinks that this guy can get her into like movies in Hollywood or whatever. So they never really explain what these three guys do for a living, but you get the idea they're like in organized crime or drugs or some cartel or something. So basically it turns into they're all partying, this and that. Then one of them attacks the girlfriend. The guy who's with her then decides that, this is a bad idea. She threatens to go to his wife. And then, of course, he pushes her off a cliff and leaves her for dead, right? So this is where it kicks in, which is it. And it is batshit crazy, over the top, guns and blood and violence and shooting and gore, and it's one of the bloodiest, crazy movies I've ever seen. Like I said, it's just gunfire and craziness, and it's just crazy. It's everything you want in some of the. It's definitely an exploitation.
Is it crazy good?
Oh yeah. I dug it totally. Like I said, because I watched Russ Creek, and then the next day I watched Revenge, and I was like, hey, this is kind of what I wanted that movie to be. Just nuts, just over the top, crazy. I've never seen so much blood in my life. It is wild. I said there's only the four characters, and they're out in the desert. So what's cool is, too, the cinematography and some of the shots of the desert and this crazy modern glass house and stuff out in the middle of this desert are really, really bizarre. But the chase sequences, the shootings. There's the finale itself where she confronts the boyfriend, where they're both trying to murder each other, and it's a game of cat and mouse in this ultra modern house. It's really, really well done, and as I said, just bloody as hell. So I don't know if this will be everybody's cup of tea, but it's definitely over the top and entertaining as hell. If you're going into this knowing it's going to be just kind of an exploitation gross out, this one was definitely good. So I definitely recommend it. My recommendations, I know you got something else to talk about, but my recommendations so far would be Revenge, Clovehitch, which is a much quieter film, and Escape Room, which is, I'd say, a little bit more family friendly. So besides the Sliders flick, you also caught Bird Box.
This ain't no virus or a chemical attack. It is real evil. If you see it, that takes on the form of your worst fears.
Every contact we have had with the outside has brought us death.
Is anyone there?
Hello?
We have a place. It's safe here. The fastest way to get here is by the river. The birds will warn you whenever those things are around.
We are going on the trip. Never take off your blindfold. We will make it.
You take this and you go.
I'm not leaving you. Please don't take my
So this is Netflix post-apocalyptic thriller. Wow. 5 years after an ominous, unseen presence drives most of society to suicide, a mother and her 2 children make a desperate bid to reach safety. Sandra Bullock is Mallory. She's the lead character. Now, should I do this with spoilers? Spoilers or no spoilers?
I want spoilers.
All right. So there's like an entity. We don't really know what it is.
Right.
And it's like infecting the world. And it basically makes somebody, if you see it, you go insane and commit suicide immediately. So everybody's fucking killing themselves, throwing themselves in front of buses, blowing their heads off.
Is this the movie that you filmed nudes? You filmed some nude scenes for, right?
No, I'll get to that.
Are you the entity they cut? Are you the entity they cut out of the film?
I was John Malkovich's ass double.
Gross.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. The apocalypse has hit the U.S. and it's going down the West Coast. Sandra Bullock's pregnant. She's with her sister. Car flips over. Her sister gets the disease or whatever it is, tries to kill them both. Anyway, she ends up in this neighborhood. She gets into this house full of people, of annoying people. Whatever people do see, like, they don't show it. It's right. Kind of not really understood. Obviously, if you see whatever it is, it drives you insane and you want to blow your head off.
Okay. Or kind of like listening to this show.
Exactly. You want to kill yourself. It's like, yeah, listening to this review right now. They have to cover the windows. They have to wear blindfolds if they go outside. The entity doesn't really seem like it can't physically hurt you. You just have to see it.
Okay.
So they have scenes in the movie where they're running from this thing and you can see the wind blowing and shit coming like it's supposed to be the thing. And but it's like, why? Because you have to see it, right? Like, that's the whole thing. So they have these scenes in the movie that don't make any sense because, once again, if you just don't look at it, then it doesn't seem like it can affect you. So I don't know. It's very confusing why some of these scenes are there because and what they're doing doesn't seem to make sense a lot. But now, they're trying to keep people out of the house. It'd be like somebody shows up, one of the girls lets him in. John Malkovich is the asshole character. He's saying, no, don't fucking get him out of here. He's holding a shotgun to him. He wants to kick him out of the house. Somebody smashes him in the back of the head, knocks him unconscious, and they let the person in. Of course, what happens? Malkovich is right. Because the person they let in. Now, some people... this is not explained either. Some people can see it and not kill themselves, but yet become like the Thing's minions. Everybody else seems affected, but there's just a small group of people, and obviously they're trying to get them to open their eyes to see the beautiful thing, and so yeah, it's a little. So they have a couple of run-ins, bad character. They're out trying to get food. It's very kind of Walking Dead in that apocalyptic type shit.
Okay,
they get to the supermarket, get a bunch of shit. They make their way back. Like I say, they let somebody in, shit goes sideways, people die. It was 2 hours long. I couldn't sit through the whole thing. About an hour into it, I put it on pause, and then I just didn't get back. It's like 2 days later, I'm like, shit, I got to watch that for the show. I really didn't give a shit about it at that point. They're intercutting, back 5 years, and most of the movie is in the past, when the shit breaks out and it's all happening fresh. The other part of the movie is 5 years later when it's just Sandra Bullock and these two children. And they're blindfolded and they have to get into a raft, go down the river to get to some sanctuary spot. She ends up going down the river and hits the rapids. The kids, they flip over. The kids end up, so the kids could not have possibly ever been taught to swim, because they've been locked in a house due to staying inside all the time.
Okay.
And they all get knocked off the raft in the rapids, but yet all end up making their way back to the same little side of the river. And they all survived and got out. Kids didn't drown or disappear down the rapids, whatever. Okay. They all were safe. And then the Thing comes after them again, and they're hauling ass. And once again, it's like, so why are you hauling ass? You just don't look at it. You have your blindfold on. So anyway, she ends up like running, tripping, falling down. The entity is just like some mass of air or something, but yet can't catch up to her, even though she trips and falls down with the kids like twice. She gets to the door of the place that was a sanctuary. It was a house for the blind. They let her in, and all is happy with the world. So in the final scene, they're in this courtyard. So it looked like there was buildings on all sides, and there was a big open kind of courtyard, a quad, inside of this place. The buildings were only about 2 stories high. The total roof is open, like it's all, you can see it's all like the trees and stuff above. So why can't the entity go over the 2-story wall and into the middle of this thing and wreak havoc? It just doesn't make any sense.
All right, so there's some inconsistencies in terms of the
I thought it was
demon or monster or whatever.
I don't. Yeah, but it's like I don't understand. So is this entity that's destroying the world, and it's only like, I don't know, 10 feet tall? It can't get over the it can't just swoop over the wall and all right. Anyway,
so you really liked it.
I thought it was such a waste of time, and it was 2 hours long. It really, there's no need it did not need to be 2 hours. Yeah. Maybe if they tightened it up a bit, I don't even know. I just, whatever.
All right.
If you have insomnia, the sleeping pills, the weed, and the booze aren't doing the trick, you throw this thing on.
Wow.
I don't know.
All right, so I think we've come to the end of our time together, sadly, once again.
Time to get happy again.
Oh, really? When does that start?
I'm sorry I ruined everything. You was going so well. Your review, you got some great movies you watched.
All right, genius. I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Everybody, thank you for listening as always. This is Johnny Thunder saying, stay scared.
I'm going now. Heaven help you.
Please like and follow the podcast. Stalk us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Links in the description. And help us by sharing Hauntcast with all your haunted Halloween brethren. Until next time, stay scary.